My name's Luke Jackson from Jackson's Nurseries. We're a traditional family-owned plant-based garden centre in North Staffordshire, and I've recently come in as the third generation of family ownership in the business, having previously worked in corporate finance for 14 years. There's really four parts to the business here. We have the plant-based garden centre, a busy tea room, a farm shop and the web sales operation. And I'd probably mention three data points that may be useful from an EPOS viewpoint. Firstly, we sell around 1,500 different varieties of plants. And as a traditional growing nursery, we're not just buying these in from suppliers. We have to account through the EPOS system for the fact that we're growing things on, and then there's a certain point in time when they become ready for sale. Secondly, we have around 20 different till users, so that's a mixture of full and part-time staff. And the Open Retail system gives us the capability to know what sales are being generated by each member of the team for days that they're working. And then third and finally, we have around 15,000 different website orders that we receive each year. And the Open Retail software allows us to synchronise those orders which we receive through our e-commerce platform called CS Cart fully into the EPOS system. So we have a holistic picture of the sales and the stock information reflecting both bricks and mortar garden centre sales as well as the orders that have come in through the website. So the two main sort of challenges or pain points that we had before we implemented the Open Retail EPOS system. The first was that we often became overstocked on slower moving lines. And more specifically, we didn't have the information and the data points that we needed to know exactly what we were overstocked in and by how much, and that prevented us from taking action to address the situation. What we found now we've got Open Retail in place is we have all of the information we need at our fingertips, which allows us not only to make more informed decisions in our ordering process, so we know what we've got in stock now, we know what we sold last year and the year before for a particular line, so we can coordinate how much we grow on for the plants that we grow ourselves, and for sort of sundry items that we buy from third-party suppliers, we can configure the order quantities on a little bit more of an informed basis based on what we've sold in previous years. Of course, we don't always judge it perfectly. There are still situations where, we end up holding slightly more stock than we would like. But in those situations, we can use the data that we have at our fingertips to take action, such as incorporating some varieties into plant packs or offering selective discounting to run the stock levels back down to where we would like them to be. The second challenge was almost the other side of the coin, in that we were sometimes running out of our best-selling varieties. And for me, this is very much about 80-20 rule. I'm sure it's the same at other garden centres as well. We generate roughly 80% of our sales from the best-selling 20% of product lines. And it can really cost us in sales opportunities if we run out of stock of those best-selling lines and don't have them available for our customers. The situation we were in before is we were perhaps a little bit lagged and reactive. We'd allow the stock levels to get to zero and there'd be a period of time in which we didn't have an item available for sale before we sort of brought the next batch of stock out of our polytunnels or purchased it from our suppliers. What we're now able to do with the Open Retail EPOS system is have a sort of minimum threshold or a reorder quantity, if you will. We know when a certain product has got down to that level, and then we can proactively start bringing stock out of our polytunnels that's been growing on or initiate an order with one of our suppliers. So we've got it available continuously and we don't run out of stock and have this sort of gap period where we're missing sales opportunities. So before we had the Open Retail EPOS system in place, we were following a very manual, informal approach, sort of judging stock levels based on eye on the ground and occasionally doing sort of manual counts. And I think that that arguably works for companies with very small number of product lines, sort of say 20 to 30 lines. I think what we found is that as we've grown over the years and over the generations as a family business, to the point where we've got roughly 1,500 different varieties now, it quickly becomes unmanageable. So it became very clear that we needed to move towards more of a sort of digital EPOS system that again allowed us to have the information that we needed at our fingertips. The experience working with the Open Retail team has been absolutely fantastic. I'd certainly needed a lot of help and support when I first came into the business to learn the ropes and get up to speed on the system, and I found they've been very helpful and generous with their time in allowing me to do that. There's always someone available at the end of the phone for sort of questions and queries, and I found even if it's more sort of complicated or involved questions, there's always people in the background with a particular specialisms and expertise that can be brought in to solve whatever the inquiry relates to. So I've had a very positive experience working with the Open Retail team. The 3 to 4 features of Open Retail that I'd call out as being particularly useful for us are firstly the ability to synchronise the EPOS system with our website, which is hosted on an e-commerce platform called CS Cart. So obviously we have a number of sort of walk-in customers in the physical garden centre, a number of orders coming in online, and the neat thing about Open Retail is both from a stock level perspective and a sales viewpoint, it synchronises in almost a real-time basis, so we know exactly what we've got by way of stock level on the ground, taking into account both sales avenues. And similarly, when we look at our sales reports, compared this year to last year and similar, we know we're getting a holistic picture, factoring in both the website and the in-store sales. The second sort of small feature, but that I found extremely helpful, is reorder quantity. So I touched on this a little earlier, just allows us to be a little bit more proactive and on the front foot when we're looking at doing restocking or bringing on plants from our polytunnels that we've grown ourselves. I think the batch import functionality will be another one to call out in particular. So I found this is a very easy, streamlined and efficient way to put things into stock. When we've, for example, made an order with Tom Chambers, we've perhaps had a spreadsheet off Tom Chambers outlining what we've ordered and the quantities that we've ordered them in. And I found it very quick and easy to create a batch using that spreadsheet and use that batch to subsequently update the stock quantities and put everything into stock as it needed to be. And then lastly, I would mention the sort of traffic light colour scheme that's available on the gross margin section within Open Retail. So I found this to be quite a neat sort of red, amber, green style indication as to whether we're achieving the gross margins that we want to be hitting based on a particular selling price that we've chosen. So we're then able to tweak up or down the selling price to achieve the gross margins that we need to reach. So in summary, I've been genuinely thrilled with the help and support we've had from the Open Retail EPOS system and the functionality that the software has provided us with. I think there's a lot we've been able to achieve with the software, and I'm very grateful for the help from the team and look forward to continuing the partnership.